Welcome to the Impossible Conversation. I'm your host, Suki, and my goal is to introduce you to the ordinary people that are doing extraordinary things. Impossible Conversation is all about you and your story and your journey. Your story is so unique and so precious. Tonight, my guest is Rie Pearson. She's one of the extraordinary people I've met recently. She's a businesswoman and mentor to many. Tonight we're going to share her story on our Impossible Conversation. So let me bring her now on live feed. Hi Rie.
Hi Suki, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for your time to joining us on our Impossible Conversation today.
You're very welcome. It's lovely to be here, and I am delighted that you've invited me. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. So let's start. I believe the person's favorite quote sums that person up. And I've asked you what your favorite quote was, and you said, "How much is your comfort zone cost you?" by Simon Lowe. Could you tell me a bit more, please?
Yeah. Simon is a friend who I knew from a few years ago. He was in a network that I was in as well. And on a Wednesday night, we used to have team training online, a bit like a Zoom call kind of thing, a webinar. And he was invited to speak one night. He's a very unassuming, sweet guy. And he was sort of talking about how he was working his business and what he was doing because he was getting really good results. And the line that he came out with was, "How much is your comfort zone costing you?" And that just completely blew me away. And I thought, how true is that? If you stay where you're not learning anything, where you're not being challenged, where you're not getting a little bit stretch on your life, comfort zone, it's not just about money. It's about learning and meeting people and enjoying things in life. If you just stay in that little bubble all the time, it costs you so much, doesn't it? And I just thought that was just an amazing line. He's not famous. I mean, I could have quoted Arnold Schwarzenegger, Winston Churchill, anybody, but no, it was Silo. And it was just something that really resonated with me, and I've kept that in me, and I think about that quote every day, because sometimes it gets challenges, and I'm just like, I said, how much has become the continue? Just push a little bit, just push a little bit. So I thought, and I hope he's pleased that I've quoted him. I don't know if he's going to be watching tonight, but I hope if he does, I hope he's pleased that I've carried that with me for years now.
Absolutely, because it's been a comfort zone. There is no growth. Everything's exactly the same, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think as a species, humans are the only species who choose to settle. Every tree grows to its best ability. Doesn't stop and go, "I'm big enough now, let's just stop here." Trees don't do that, plants don't do that. Other animals just keep trying and hunting and doing what it is they do. They always get up and get on with it. And humans are just really strange. They kind of settle, and I think we need to push it a bit.
Absolutely. So let's find out who's, like, we've got Sandra here, Hazel here, Samantha, Lauren, Chloe.
Hi everybody.
Yeah, lots of your friends. Yeah. Thank you very much for tuning in. So let's talk about who's Rie. Please tell us about your story, where you're born and from your childhood up until now, what you've been doing.
Oh gosh, how long have you got? Okay, I was born in Newcastle upon Tyne, which is about 10 miles away from where I live now. I am number 7 of 8 children.
Oh wow!
I have 4 brothers and 3 sisters. It was great actually because we've been on a Zoom call this afternoon with some of the family, which is lovely. So we've got family from all over the place, including my son, who's in Australia, and my daughter, who's in Yorkshire, and my teenager's still at home. But it was lovely. So it's actually lovely being part of a big family. What else about me? I'm married to David. I have 3 children. 2 of them are in their 20s, and I have a 15-year-old. But I had my teenage pregnancy when I was 39, but that's a whole different conversation. So I've got Wilster at home. I joined the police when I was 22, and I was a police officer for 27 years. Left a little bit short of my full 30 years because of ill health. I like gardening. I'm growing stuff at the minute. I like painting like pictures and stuff. I have got a project on at the minute where I'm painting the tubes from toilet rolls, and I'm painting front doors on them, because I think the two things kind of go together at the minute with the coronavirus thing. So I've got this little project going. So I do like painting and doing crafty things. What else about me? I don't know.
I'm sure there are loads. Yeah.
I'm in network marketing. I work from home.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a home-based business, where my vision is to help women become financially independent, which that's kind of like my goal. And for women who want to become financially independent, because not everybody does, but I do. I always want to be financially independent. And I think that kind of sums me up. I like helping people. I like coaching people. I like seeing people, grow. Because a lot of things, a lot of it is about self-confidence. What I do is a lot about.
Yeah. So you uplift them and you encourage them to find their financial independence.
I hope. Well, there's a lot of my friends watching, and a lot of them are in my team as well. So I hope I do.
Okay. Yeah. So, because you mentioned about Rie being on a police force.
Yes.
Over 29 years, 25 years?
27 years, I did
27 years. So how did you join it? How did you decide to join the police? And if you think it's quite a long time ago, and there may not be that many women at that time?
That's right, yeah. I joined, well, at the time, I'd left school. Oh, thank you, Hazel. I'd left school at 18 with quite good GCSEs, but really crappy A-level results. And I didn't go to uni. I actually got married when I was 19. And the job was okay, but I didn't have a car. I couldn't drive till I was 22. Well, I could drive, but I didn't do it legally. You know what I mean? Anyway, I was in this bit of a dirty job, and I was a bit bored. And thanks, Chloe. I was a bit bored, and I was thinking, what do I do? What do I do? Well, me and my friend Janet, the Evening Chronicle, the newspaper, the Evening Chronicle, on a Thursday night, they used to have a job section. I mean, it's all online now, isn't it? This is the 80s. Remember the 80s? Like before everybody was online. The mobile phones were like this big. But they had a job section on a Thursday night. So Janet and I she used to come to my flat, and I used to go to her flat, and we used to go through that thing. And we used to apply for different jobs. And I actually applied for a job in a there's actually Northumbrian Fine Foods on the team, Barry and Gatesburg, because I wanted to see how they got the chocolate on the ends of the biscuit.
Chocolate.
I applied for the job, and I actually went for an interview. And anyway, this is not how I got into the police. But anyway, this is what we used to do. So anyway, I was coming home on the bus one sunny July. It was a Friday, and I lived in the Jewish section of Gateshead in Bensham off Courtwood Road. So it's everything barely finished on a Friday. But anyway, there's a bakery on that street, and I saw a police car parked outside the bakery, and 2 policewomen came out, and I know them now, Lynn and Margaret, and afterwards I met them. They came out the bakery, and they were carrying what I guess was like pies and cakes and stuff. And it was a beautiful sunny day. And I remember the police used to wear white shirts then, but they didn't have their ties on. So I thought, well, obviously they didn't have to wear their ties when it's so hot. But they were laughing and like hysterically. I have no idea what they were laughing about. And I just saw them and I was looking out the bus window thinking, I can do that. I can laugh for a living. Definitely I can. And then the following week on a Thursday, when Janet and I were sitting going through the Evening Chronicle job section again, there was an advert in from Northumbria Police. They were recruiting. So I applied for it. And there you go. that was the beginning of the journey of craziness. And so I got in it was the September I started. I was 22. So 27 years later, I've been in the police longer than I hadn't been in the police. It was like a time in my life when I thought, actually, I've spent more than half of my life being a police officer, which is a bit weird. But and that was good fun. But I blame Margaret and Lynn. It was all their fault. They shouldn't have had such a good time.
Yeah, because it's supposed to happen, isn't it? If you were like looking at the two policewomen and the next day you can see the advert.
I
Your
honestly I don't think I've certainly never been involved with the police before. Never been caught for anything. I've never been in a police station. I had absolutely no idea what was going to come next. But I saw them and I just really thought I can do I could do it. I didn't care. I learned. It was, but obviously being in the police is way different from what you imagine. That you've never been involved before.
So, and you've been in which departments have you been? Which sections do you call them? Because I remember you were mentioning about the helping other women.
I did a bit of everything, really. I stayed on the front line for about 10 years. So pushing a panda car for about 10 years, I think, maybe 9. Then I was at the Metro Centre for a while, and then crime desk, which was on the phone really. What else was I? I did the department doesn't exist anymore. It was community safety. I don't know if it was called that then, but it was like dealing with the diversity side of things. That was a great job. That was a really great job, and engaging with people in LGBT communities, engaging with a lot of communities in the West End of Newcastle as well, and the East End as well. Just people from all over the world coming into Newcastle. Bangladeshi community in Hendon and Sunderland used to go there a lot. That was fantastic. Honestly, God, it was a brilliant job. Absolutely brilliant.
And you've been at home office as well, don't you?
What happened? I ended up working on a project with the Home Office because domestic violence is my specialist subject, and that came about. So I remember this was in the 90s, okay, and things were not dealt with then as they are now. It all used to be that if there was a domestic incident, somebody phoned the police and all horrible stuff, but it was always the pregnant police woman in the station who ended up doing the follow-up call with the victim the next day.
Okay.
But at a particular time, the pregnant police woman was having a really difficult pregnancy, and she was on the sick quite a lot. And I was walking past the boss's office one day, and he called me in and he said, "Jane's not very well again. I need you to do this job." And I was like, I'm not doing domestic. That's just not me. I like locking people up and stuff, like burglars and stuff like that. And he's like, yes, you are going to do this job. And I was like, oh no, I'm not. And he's like, oh yes, you are. And I was like, oh no, I'm not. And he's like, yes, you are. And I was like, well, you're the boss. I guess I'll have to do it. So I ended up being that person who followed up the victim and was really patronising kind of role where you would go around and say, everything will be okay, and like pat them on the shoulder and give them a hug and all that pink and fluffy stuff, which was just rubbish. It was crap. Do you know what I mean? It's not all going to be okay. So anyway, I started looking at the perpetrator instead of like, because I just thought, well, I'm a police officer, I should be taking like action against criminals, not patting somebody and saying, don't worry, it'll be fine, because that's not how I saw my role. So anyway, I started looking at the perpetrator, and I got the boss to buy me a whiteboard, the ones that go on the wall that you write. And back then, bear in mind this is the early 90s, right? Back then, well, now, when you go on duty, your whole shift turns up on duty and you have a briefing. And it's completely different now, but back then, in the briefing room, there would be a clock on the wall, and nobody dared look at their watch. A briefing's quite boring sometimes, and they can go on and on. And you didn't dare look at your watch because the sergeant would have bitten your head off. But there was a clock on the wall, so you could see how long you'd been in the briefing room. And I knew that everybody looked at that wall. So I got the boss to buy me a whiteboard for underneath the clock. And then what I did was I looked at, because domestic violence, the repeat victimization is like huge. It's ridiculous. It's constant. People are constantly having to phone the police, having to phone people. So I looked at that, and I looked at different classes, like, is this, because mostly, and not always, but I have to say mostly, it was a male on female abuse. So, all the perpetrators on this board were men, and I would kind of identify that 70% of the people who we were engaging with, the perpetrators we were engaging with for domestic violence, were actually for the crime anyway.
Right.
And I just thought, isn't it a really good way if we could just take what they're doing in terms of criminality outside of the domestic situation and focus on that. So I put their names I put their names and where they lived and what they were driving on this board, so that everybody who was in the briefing room had that like imprinted in their brain, and then they knew. And it was just much better for the victim if the police could deal with the perpetrator in relation to something that wasn't to do with them. Because it's very difficult, if not nigh on impossible, for somebody who's been abused to get through that court. And it's just so, like, the stress of it is just, I can imagine, indescribable. Like, the level of stress that you must feel if you go into a court case. But if you imagine yourself going to a court case and the person you're involved in the prosecution is actually the father of your children, that is just crazy, isn't it? When you think about it, it's mad. So I thought, well, if we can take them out, that's very American. If we could focus on other ways of removing the problem, that would reduce the stress level within that household.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely, yes.
I'm trying to see what people are writing.
Yeah, as Hazel said, so your business now, Rie, is really an extension from when you was in a domestic violence. It sounded like it because you were helping women then and now still.
Yes, and I think probably the way I'm working now, because of my background, I mean, I can't unknow what I know. And I like working with women. Although, if you think about the police was a very male-dominated environment back then. Weren't that many police women around. Now, not so. It's kind of finding a better balance. But I liked working with the lads who were police officers, but I like working with women. It's difficult to describe really. It's about self-confidence with women. You know, a guy
Yeah.
looks in the mirror and whatever's looking back, he thinks, oh, I'm looking at. Men have got amazing self-confidence, haven't they? They just,
Yeah.
or maybe they don't all, but they
They
come
look
across
themselves
like
in a
they have,
different light,
they come
perhaps.
across like they have
Yeah.
self-confidence, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a woman, no matter how beautiful she is, and everybody's beautiful. I mean, I don't think there are any ugly people on the planet, to be fair, but you know, a woman looks in the mirror, and I mean, I look in the mirror at the minute. I hope nobody's got me on HD because obviously with lockdown, I haven't been to the salon for about 2 months, and my eyebrow, I'm looking like my brother, and my eyebrows are completely out of control, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my god. But a woman, don't give me a close up because you know, a woman looks in the mirror and she sees flaws.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
in working with women and helping them to build their knowledge and understanding of their business
Mm-hmm.
and showing them what to do to build that and build an income. And I think obviously the connection between domestic abuse and financial abuse is like a lot of it is finance. You know, people have to stay in relationships because they can't afford not to.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that every woman I work with is in an abusive relationship because that's not true. I just like working with women, and
Mm-hmm.
and I think women have an inner strength because I think we take on emotional responsibility, if not like legal responsibility, but you know, actually doing things. But we take on the emotional responsibility of everything in the family.
Yes.
I
Yes.
used to have a business years ago, and I love network marketing. I think as a business structure, it's
Mm-hmm.
brilliant for anybody, absolutely. But I used to work in a network that, and I sold birthday cards, Christmas cards, wrapping paper, that kind of thing. I love that kind of stuff, and it was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. I didn't make a bean. I loved it, but I just didn't make any money at all,
Mm-hmm.
probably. But my my customer base was 99% women because women buy the cards for birthdays, for anniversaries, for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it's women who take on that responsibility of doing the touchy feely stuff, if you like.
Right. So I see what
And
you mean.
women, do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Women take on
Yeah.
that and they have
Mm-hmm.
that core, but they don't realize they have that core. They don't realize they have that strength, and what they do is like they have this lack of confidence
Mm-hmm.
and they really sort of like step into the background. I've just been looking at a picture, a photograph, just before I came on with you, and I was on a webinar with my business people, and I was looking at a photograph, and the guys are all at the front, and the women are all at the back of the photograph. And my husband said, "What do you see there?" And I said, "Well, maybe they're standing at the back because they think they're fat, because that's what women think like. They think in terms of they lessen themselves
Yeah.
from who they really are, because I know many, many, many strong women.
Yeah.
Some people
It's
are
different
absolutely amazing.
psychology, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's different psychology. It's been like brought since like the women were very young, like it was from very young age. And that's probably going all the time. So we've very long comment from Lauren
Yeah,
and oh like there was a first one, yeah. It's about working with women. I didn't want to work with women and yeah, I
yeah,
absolutely agree.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
Lauren,
Mhm.
absolutely. But I think, I mean, we all have qualities, don't we? But I love to see people thrive,
Mhm.
and especially women, because, oh gosh, I'm going to be a bit controversial. Um, this planet is built on patriarchy and misogyny, and to see women being successful, because we have to work 10 times harder, I think, to be, certainly within corporate environment, I think it's really difficult. And it's really difficult if you want to have a family as well. And I know lots of companies are really helpful with that now.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think it's bloody hard work if you have kids and you have a career.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. It's because you can't have that 100% focus.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know when I was married, my eldest two were quite small. I went part-time in my job.
Mm-hmm.
My husband at the time was also a police officer. And
Yeah.
I went part-time, and I completely supported him, and he got promoted up the ladder, and I basically committed career suicide because I had to look after the kids in the house, and because when you're in the police you have to pass exams, so I would just lock him in the dining room and feed him every now and then while he studied to his exams. So, and I don't regret that. I mean, we're not married anymore, but I'm pleased he's achieved what he's achieved. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would have, well, I know I wouldn't have had the same support. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have. And I think a lot of women find that. My husband now, my current husband, my husband is very supportive. But
Mm-hmm.
also there's still the emotional stress. And I think what yeah,
Yeah. What?
Rebecca, hi darling Rebecca, to take another woman to point out the strength. I mean, Rebecca is actually my niece. And,
Uh-huh.
we are a family of very strong women, but we still all have our little quirks and moments of like, oh, I don't know. But we're all, and do you know what? Super intelligent. That lady there is super intelligent.
Yeah.
Just amazing woman. Thanks for coming on,
And
Rebecca.
yeah, and every time I feel like together we are better, like encourage and support each other and learn from each other, grow together.
Yes,
Like together is my one word. Let's do it together.
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
this is a good one. If you all, there's no need to be jealous. There's no need to compare yourself with another person. The only person I compare myself with is the girl I was yesterday.
Exactly.
I don't look at anybody and go, oh, she's better than me, she's prettier than me, she's thinner than me. I I have no control of it. I don't worry about anything that I
Mm-hmm.
can't control. If I
Mm-hmm.
can't control it, I don't give it a second thought. All I think about is how can I do the best that I can do today, and anything else just is fluff, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, Rebecca, you're right. It takes another woman to help another woman, definitely for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Totally agree with Rebecca. Yes. And who's the person has influenced you so much?
And you're just talking like generally, or famous person, or just generally.
Just generally, like the who had like most influence in your life and maybe still is.
I have to say, and I know this is a bit of a cliche, but my kids,
Mm-hmm.
my three children are absolutely amazing people. They are clever, they are bright, but most importantly, they are empathetic
Mm-hmm.
and genuine and also very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think from being a single mum and having to have like, you know, our little gang, everything I've done is for them really, everything. But they
Mm-hmm.
have, because they're brave as well. When my son lives on the other side of the planet, my daughter lives in Yorkshire. She's absolutely an amazing woman. She's
Mm-hmm.
so clever. She studies so much. She's studying for an exam tomorrow tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my teenager is amazing. We're in this lockdown now. You know what? He has not complained. He has not buggered off and met his friends or anything. He has been so calm, so easygoing about it. Just, I
Mm-hmm.
love them. They're just amazing people. And so I look at them sometimes to learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
But I always just wanted them to have a fantastic life, and nothing can stop you from doing that. If you decide to come out of your comfort zone and go for it, and just do it.
Yeah.
And the others who have just really done it, they're just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Have fantastic lifestyles, better than I could have at their age. I was too
Mm-hmm.
busy too wild, I think.
Yeah.
I think China probably saved my life.
Yeah, I'm sure you inspire them so much as well. Same time, they'll look up to you, and that's probably how they've grown up
Well,
who they
hopefully
are now. Yeah.
we do have a really strong work ethic.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you love about being you?
Ooh, what I love about being me. I just
I'm
actually,
sure
I don't know. I'm in a happy place. In my headspace, I'm quite at the minute. I'm in quite a happy place,
mm-hmm.
and there's lots of things I don't love about me, but that's I'm looking at my backside, but I've never swallowed anything by accident, so I've got nobody to blame but myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I'm brave. I think that's one of my traits. I think doing what I've done
Mm-hmm.
career-wise, I mean, it's completely off the map. Nobody else in my family is in the busy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things that, because I come from long language teachers, really, you know, um, but I'm quite brave. Courage is a thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've got to be brave, but I think women have got to be brave at every single step anyway. And I think just making other people realise that they're brave as well. You
Mm-hmm.
don't realise it until somebody else, like Rebecca said, until somebody else tells you. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm quite brave and
Fun.
cheeky,
Chicky.
probably. I'm not scared of anything. I mean,
Yeah.
my husband looks like he's shaved head, goatee, glasses. He looks like a bouncer.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you're out and there's like stuff when you're in town and stuff, and people look at my husband as if because he does look quite intimidating. But he
Mm-hmm.
laughs and he says, it's not me that should be scared because I'm the bossy one. I'm the one who
Mm-hmm.
jumped into a fight. Definitely one of the things I miss.
That's great. So, if I ask you, what's the one thing you will do again and again, what would that be? Because I know you get involved with different charities abroad and maybe
Well,
even in the country.
well, the one thing I really loved was it was about 10 years, it was just over 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got in conversation with somebody who was working with a school in rural Tanzania, and
Mm-hmm.
he wanted us to. What we did is we was a gang of us, kind of were fundraising because we wanted to raise money. This school in Tanzania, if you can imagine, there's like rural Tanzania. There's like nothing, like bananas, right? So bananas, more bananas, big trees of bananas for as far as you can see. And this school, so obviously education in East Africa is really important because the poverty is absolutely blinding. And
Yeah.
what we did, so we did some fundraising because what he wanted to do was he wanted to build the dormitory at this school for the girls. Because with the dormitory there for the boys, imagine the kids come from far, far away and they would walk to school like 10 miles. And then they would stay through the week and then walk home on the Friday. And there was nowhere for the girls to sleep. The girls were sleeping in a classroom, basically putting the desks and chairs outside on the
Mm-hmm.
night. And then so we did some fundraising and we went over there and we built a dormitory.
Mm-hmm.
I've
How? Mm-hmm.
actually had because the Tanzanian government are cute. But everybody, well, unless you're in a city, everybody in Tanzania, your house is a mud hut. That's just the way it's like. We have barrack homes and wimpy homes and whatever, and our
Mm-hmm.
houses are made of brick. Over there, your house is made of sticks and mud, and that's perfectly normal. It's not an indication that, you haven't got anything, it's just that's the way it is. Some people have houses made of breeze blocks for that because they've got lots of money. So, well, I don't know where that was going, but anyway, we built this dormitory and went over there. And at the time, we were in a recession here. It was 2000. What year is it now?
20, I think. I think it's 2020.
It was my 40, and we flew out to Tanzania on my 45th birthday.
Mm-hmm.
September 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read? No. I can't. What's 10 years ago? So anyway, 10
Okay,
years.
right.
I can't do. You're the accountant. I can't do numbers. Anyway, it was definitely my birthday. So anyway, we bought anyway. So anyway, I was out there, and obviously we were working in the school, and the women in the village were coming round and talking. And the lady who was the I don't know what the leader, the village elders, the village
Mm-hmm.
leader was a guy, and it was his wife. And she was talking to me one day, and she said, "What can you do to help us?" And honestly, I was like, "What can we do?" Because we were in a recession here at the
Mm-hmm.
time, and I knew that trying to raise funds for the trip to build the dormitory in the first place was really difficult because when you're in the UK, if you haven't been to somewhere where poverty is grinding, like these people have nothing, if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it, you give your money to guide dogs for the blind or you know, I mean, there's so much to give in this country already that people don't
Mm-hmm.
have to pay for that kind of time.
Yeah.
And I was really conscious that I didn't want to come back home and raise money. I didn't want to ask people for pounds
Yeah.
because we were in a recession.
Mm.
So what we figured was we thought bras. We thought second-hand bras. And Hazel, I know Hazel's watching. This is a story about the bras.
Mm.
And what happened was I was like, what are we going to do? In the UK, or in the Western world, if
Mm-hmm.
you have finished with your bra, you put it in the bin. You don't give it to charity because we're so spoiled here that we don't need to buy second-hand bras. And they just go to waste. They get I
Yeah.
put it in or in scrap, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, with this lady, is like, right, bras, what we do? Now a second-hand bra in Tanzania it's going to cost you a day's pay. It's going to cost you, your daily pay is about $1.20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about quid. Yeah. So we thought if we could get some bras to Tanzania and sell them on the market, we would then use the money there to set up little cottage industries with
Mm-hmm.
so they would basically buy the raw materials to sew sanitary towels that were
Mm-hmm.
washable, reusable sanitary towels. So the girls in
Yeah.
the school didn't miss because you
Mm-hmm.
can't get to Boots in rural Tanzania to buy your sanitary towels.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we did.
So,
And it just got completely out of hand because, well, basically what I did is I told everybody I had bins in police stations, like kitchen bins.
mm-hmm.
And people were coming in donating bras that they didn't want anymore. I had a friend who's a health visitor and a friend who's a midwife. So you can imagine how many bras that came from there. I'd have people turn up on my door with a black bag full of bras, and we got them shipped across to Tanzania and sold them on the market and set up because obviously in a mud hut you haven't got electricity, but they have, those old Singer sewing machines that are treble, and you don't need electricity for them. There are loads of them. If you want to go and get one, if you want one of those old-fashioned Singer sewing machines that cost a fortune here, they
Mm-hmm.
have got hundreds of them over there. Just loads. So anyway, that's what happened. The bras were converted into money, and the money was converted into washable sanitary towels.
Mm-hmm.
as
So
well.
how
So
many children, how many girls are in that accommodation?
I have no
With
idea.
you
Oh, in the dormitory, I think
in dormitory, yeah?
the dormitory has 20, I think.
Oh, wow.
But see, the Tanzanian government were quite happy for their
Mm-hmm.
people to live without running water. But because we were paying to build the building, we had
Mm-hmm.
to put toilets in.
Yeah.
I was like, what? They didn't know what that was. Like, what? What was the toilet? But the government, because they decided that the regulations had to say they had to have flushing toilets, or they didn't have flushing toilets to start with. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, God, when I first got there, we went to the nursery school first, and it was pouring with rain, pouring. And we brought all of these crayons and pencils and paper and stuff. Can you imagine in rural Tanzania, these 3 and 4 year old kids, right, little teens,
Mm-hmm.
they'd never seen a white woman before. They hadn't. They were looking at me. Some of them were like, "Oh my goodness, I could have been Barney the dinosaur." Do you know what I mean? Could have been like whatever. So
Yeah.
I've given these kids paper in a crate, and I was just when I reflect back on that moment in my life, giving these little children crayons, I'm just amazed that they didn't just eat them because they hadn't even seen crayons. They didn't have anything. It was
Mm.
mad. It's absolutely mad. Anyway, that was really good. I would do that again. But no, because
You will do
it
it
got
again and again.
it got to the point where my husband said, if you get any more bras, we're going to get divorced because the shed was just full, literally full to the
Uh-huh.
top of bras. I had to get shipped across. And then in the end, what happened was the Tanzanian government brought in a piece of legislation that
Mm-hmm.
they are not allowed to import second-hand underwear.
I see.
I think I was
Right.
destabilising the economy, but what the hell?
Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
That's
that's really interesting story. You've changed like so many
well, I'm
little
hoping
girls'
because
lives.
I haven't been back, and I'm hoping that they
Yeah.
continue. I'm hoping they
Mhm.
continue with it because it was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I'm
did what I
sure.
could until the government said no.
Yeah. So my next question would be, if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
Um,
It's just like a little bit jokey, silly one.
my my warning label would be: I'm fragile, not
Mm-hmm.
like a flower, like a bomb.
Oh,
I
that's
think
a
that
good one.
I think that pretty much sums me up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I do have quite a short fuse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Not like a flower, but like a bomb.
yeah,
Right.
fragile, not like a flower, fragile like a
Mm-hmm.
bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because I think the older I get as well, I don't know if it's, do you know this whole menopause thing, right? Sorry to go off on a tangent. Do you think, right, because I've been talking to people about menopause, I'm 54, and am I bolshy because I'm menopausal, or am I bolshy because I've got to the age of where I'm like, just, I can't put up with no nonsense? Does that make sense? Because people say, oh, menopausal women, blah, blah. And again, it's like this whole like, should women not be bolshy? Should we not be short-tempered? Is it because we're women? Are men allowed to be angry, but women are not allowed to be angry? And that takes me down the whole line of like,
Mm. We're allowed to be anything we want.
we are, we
We
are. But
are.
isn't that like a cultural thing where it's like, oh, symptoms of menopause is short-tempered? Am I not just short-tempered because people are being stupid? I don't
Oh,
know. Somebody's gonna, because I'm not frightened to call anybody out, and
mhm.
say no, actually no, and then you get that thrown back saying, oh, you have a really low tolerance level. Like, I've got a
Mhm.
really low tolerance level. This is, and I think that's not got anything to do with hormones. I just think it's to do with the fact that I'm like grown up and confident enough to turn around and
Yeah.
say, "Bugger off." I
Yes,
maybe
absolutely. Yeah.
what would
So
you say?
yeah, because a lot like I think Lynn and Hazel, they absolutely agree with you.
I'm just,
Mm.
I don't like people taking the mickey.
Yeah, absolutely. We can be whoever we want to be. Absolutely. Yeah. So, what song would you say that best sums you up?
Do you know what? I had to think a lot about that question
Mm-hmm.
because it's really difficult to decide if this song is something that because I've got a lot of, I love songs, I love a lot of, I've got a very eclectic taste in music, and I was trying to think, but I think the one that I came up, which is the closest, I think,
Uh-huh.
to what is me, is The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. Like, he didn't write it.
Oh my God, I love that song.
I don't
I
think he wrote or he
absolutely
didn't write
love
it,
it.
but isn't it a great song? Isn't it? Just like, this is the hand that you've been given. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be careful. You have to be careful what you do, what your next step is. You have to which
Mm-hmm.
path you're going to follow.
Mm-hmm.
And just be careful about what you're doing and about how you're reacting with people.
Yes.
It's really that. It's just really the core. It's not about drinking whiskey and falling asleep on a train in the middle of the night, but which I probably would do if somebody give me the chance. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, yes, you'll have to put that on my to-do list. Um, but yeah, be thinking about it. You've got to know when to walk away
Mm.
and when to run away, because sometimes what we hold on to hurts us more. But letting go is sometimes better.
Yeah,
Yeah, even though it hurts to let go, it's better for your soul and
exactly.
sometimes better for you physically as well. Sometimes when you think about my background, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So Kenny Rogers, I love
Love
him.
it.
I love him. I love him.
Yeah. Oh my.
It's so weird, but I do.
Why is it weird? Because
Well,
I
it's not.
love
It's
it.
not like my genre. It's not the kind of genre of
It's
music.
like a country music, isn't it? Like,
Uh,
yeah, yeah, I know
yeah,
what you mean. I love him. Yeah.
he's just, and he was also
Hmm.
easy on the eye.
Exactly. So if you could choose to do anything for a whole day, what would it be?
If Right, let's just say we're on a planet where you just like like Harry Potter when you go from there to there and it's like immediate. Right.
Okay.
This is you don't know this about me. I like art galleries. I do actually collect um
There you
art.
go. Wow.
I
Uh-huh.
collect paintings, I collect stuff
Mm-hmm.
like, originals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I would really look at, and I haven't been, I would like to go to the Louvre to have a look at the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci. And then I would like to pop into Rome and
Mm-hmm.
go see the Statue of David.
Yeah.
And just art galleries, I love, the Kelvin Grove has got a really
Mm-hmm.
good, got Salvador Dali.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Anyway, what's it called? Anyway, the big painting by Salvador
Okay.
Dali. I just like looking at things. I once went to the Lane Art Gallery in Newcastle because the Queen's exhibition was doing a tour, and
Mm-hmm.
some of the work was by Leonardo da Vinci. Bear in mind, it's like 1500, right? Oh my, amazing! Just I love art. I love Turner. We went to Berwick a few months ago because the Turner exhibition was up in Berwick. Because Turner had travelled in the north with. Oh, I just love art. I love looking at things.
Wow, lovely.
Turner,
So you collect arts. So
yeah,
who's your most favorite artist that from your collection?
Emily Ward.
Is she based
Emily
in?
Ward. She's in North Shields.
Uh-huh.
And she does really big paintings as well. But she does commercial stuff like on tiles and cushions
Mm-hmm.
and everything. But I
Yeah.
actually met Emily years ago, and I had 3 paintings by Emily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can. Hang on.
Oh wow.
That's my son.
Uh-huh.
So I managed to get an Emily Ward before I couldn't afford her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got 3 by her. But yeah, she just like really, really big sort of seaside-y ones, like
Mm-hmm.
huge, huge.
Yeah,
So yeah, I love her. But
fantastic. And
if I could own a Turner, so if anybody wants to give me like £300 million,
mm-hmm.
I could probably buy a Turner.
Fantastic. So, and what makes you laugh the most?
What makes
I'm
me laugh?
sure, yeah, I'm sure you laugh all the time, but what makes you laugh the most?
My husband makes me laugh. He comes out with stuff.
Uh-huh.
He comes out with what I call husbandism, which I can't even explain. But he says things, and I just think, how on earth? Like you say, like looks like it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That even makes sense. And he does this thing. He does this thing, right? And my daughter, I don't know if Ali's watching, but she's like, I know Sharon, yes, you make me laugh. So my husband has more shoes than a Madame Marcos, right? He's in the
Mm-hmm.
kitchen. I'm gonna whisper, but he needs shoes in every room, like every room. And my daughter says it's almost like he's a dog. And you know how dog leaves its scent on the lamppost, every lamppost. And my husband leaves his shoes in every room, and that she says it's like his way of marking his territory.
And
He'll
I'm sure like that will make you laugh.
kill me for that. He just looks like weird stuff. He says things, and I say, oh,
Oh.
you're gonna his brain works like my brain works in bullet points.
Uh-huh.
David works in lines. He's got a linear brain, so we don't always agree. I can't read his list. He sent me. He said, "Can you go shopping tomorrow? Got to get the weekly shopping in tomorrow." And he's at work. And I said, "Yeah, well, if you just send me a shopping list, because I'm on strict instructions, because I'm crap at this kind of thing." He does everything like that. But he's working really
Uh-huh.
long shifts tomorrow, but we've got to get the weekly shop. So he sent me a list, and he sent it to me, and it's in iCloud. So I haven't even got an Apple phone. I haven't got. It's like, you're going to have. Why would you think I can open that when I haven't even got an Apple phone? I don't know. Anyway, you have to send it me on a text message like a normal human.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it's quite good, like to get married to your best friend and laugh all the time, and because we know
I'm not sure I'm laughing with him. Maybe that's avid. Lush.
cool, right? So I can't believe it's already like 50 minutes past. So like this is going to be my last question. And what was your I am possible moment? And what is your message for our viewers today?
Oh, my I'mPossible moment. I think when I turned 28,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think, obviously I've evolved as a person, but I think I am that person at 28. I think that's when my character was like, this is who I am. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I
Yeah,
felt like
you
a
knew
surge,
what you were doing, and
yeah, I felt a
mm-hmm.
surge of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was at work actually, had 5 years in the job.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously every job you get different. And I remember thinking, and I know exactly where I was at the time, thinking, whatever's coming out of that radio, I'm going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I had 5 years in, and I thought, right, that's it. I am who I am now. And as for, did you say advice? Is that what you said? What have I got to say? What have I got to say to people who are listening?
Yeah, what's your message for our viewers? Uh-huh.
I think be true to yourself. follow your dreams, because a lot of people settle and don't achieve the things. I'm not talking about financial success, because there are many ways to be successful,
Mm-hmm.
but don't settle. Follow your dream. Don't let anybody talk you out of doing what you're passionate.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, especially family, I would say negative relatives, you all will hold that negative relatives. A lot of people in your family will try and talk you out of doing something because they want to protect you from failure. But actually,
Absolutely, yes.
failing is a stepping stone to success. So don't be afraid to cock up,
Mm-hmm.
because the first draft of any book, isn't it? The first time you do something, it's always, unless you're like really super intelligent, the first time you do something, it's always going to have to be done again, isn't it?
Yeah,
So,
first time is always first time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just
Mm-hmm.
keep going. Like, don't let anybody talk you out of your dreams. Be yourself. Be true to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and do what your passion is, even if that doesn't make you a bean.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Rie. It's
Thank
been
you.
absolute pleasure to have you here,
Thank you
and
very
your
much.
story is just mind-blowing. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I could talk all night now. But
Yeah.
thank you so much, and thank you everybody who's tuned in as well. That's really
Yeah.
everybody. Thank you so much for the support.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
amazing. Thank you, Susie.
Thank you. And thank you very much for all our viewers too. And I think I'm going to back on Thursday with Simon Raybould. He's a presentation genius, and I'm sure he'll going to give us a few tips here and there. Thank you. And thank you very much. Cheers. Bye. I'll end this broadcast now.